Good evening and welcome to TC Global's webinar on the perfect landing, redefining career planning. Before we begin, some quick pointers. We know that this session will raise a lot of questions, so please feel free to ask any questions that you have through our question panel. It will be on the right-hand corner of the center of your screen, depending on your device. We also have some polls for you today. All you will need to do is select what is on your screen, the answer that suits you best. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you to our speaker today, Ron McCluskey. Ron is an international management consultant, psychologist, and one of 12 certified master action learning coaches globally. His career includes university lecturing, entrepreneurship, and corporate leadership. Ron is a happy and truly global citizen, having lived and worked in South Africa, Middle East, New Zealand, and now in India. Consulting and speaking engagements have taken him to numerous other countries as well. Ron's passion and purpose is to help people be successful in their lives and challenge them to be happy 24/7. We also have other panelists today who are going to help answer your questions. Some of our panelists today is Bindu Chopra. She's the principal consultant at TC Global in our international relations team. We also have Kalpana Zucchi, who's a principal consultant in our international relations. Shweta and Prasad are part of our relationship management team, and they too will be here helping us answer your questions. Unfortunately, we also have some panelists that you will not see, but will be answering your questions. We have Tanya from our West Delhi team, Monica from our Jaipur team, Ratika and Urvashi from our Chandigarh team. So you have a very heavy set of panelists who are here to help answer any questions that you have. Once again, just make sure that you put them in the answer box so that we can answer your questions as the webinar goes on. Over to you, Ron.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. It's indeed a great pleasure and privilege to be speaking with you this evening. And thank you also for our panelists that will no doubt answer a lot of the questions that arise. Firstly, I'd like to just talk very briefly about TC Global. Excuse me. Sorry. TC Global. Sorry, I've just got a scratchy throat. Just give me half a second. Yep. Okay, I'm good. Thank you very much. My apologies for that. TC Global, we're really a global education, learning, and investment services organization. Our mission and purpose is to really build a global mobility and learning community of students, people, industry, and partnerships to help shape the global citizens of tomorrow, and we're doing that today. TC Global has been around since 1995. Led by passionate founders, that was Mr. and Mrs. Chopra, who founded the organization. They saw the need to really introduce career development and future planning in the Indian educational landscape. And as you can see from the slide that we've got up there, yeah, we've had more than 2.5 million student interactions over 4 continents, 40 countries. We have over 700 international university partners. And we touch base with, well, I guess, over 350,000 students annually. So at TC Global, we are continuing to build, adapt, and advance our mission, even as we see this whole new world taking shape around us. And we look forward to really having a good session with you this evening. So let's move on from there. So today's session, what will we be covering? I'll kick off with what I see as the 3 sacred rules of career planning. We'll talk about a career planning roadmap And we'll also talk about a little bit about psychometrics in career planning, a particular product that we believe is very effective. So to kick off with, we've got our first poll. Rohini, would you like to manage the poll, please?
Sure. So guys, before we start, before Ron gets into details, we'd just like to know who we're actually talking to, because there's so many of you that have joined us today, and thank you for that. Are you somebody that's considering global education? Are you an applicant? Are you already an offer holder? Are you a parent? Or are you an international student who's currently studying abroad? So if you can let us know who you are, we know exactly how to take this conversation further and give you the insights that will help you going forward. So we're going to keep the poll open for another half a minute. And there's some very interesting results coming in, Ron. You've got about 30% and rising that are still considering global ed, 27 and rising percent of applicants, same number of offer holders. We've actually got a couple of parents with us today as well. And we've got about 6% of international students. I'm just waiting for a couple of more of them to give us let us know who they are so that I can give you a final grade.
Sounds like a really interesting mix. That's great.
Okay, guys, thank you for sharing. So just to give you an idea of our audience today, Ron, we've got 33% that are considering global ed, 31% that are applicants, 28% offer holders, 3% of parents, and 5% that are currently international students studying abroad. Back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. It's really interesting, we have a number of people that are already offer holders. We've got people that are studying, people that are still considering it, and especially a very special word of welcome to the parents as well. So if we're looking at what I regard as the three sort of sacred rules of career planning, I'd like to cover them very briefly. Firstly, focus on your strengths. And I've said they align with self. I'd like to, before we get into that, I'd like to tell you just a very short story that I think stresses, the stage that you're at in your career planning at the moment. I deal with a lot of very senior corporate executives, vice presidents, and so on, from a coaching perspective. And one of the questions I ask them, when I'm working with them, is I ask them, how happy are you? And you'd think you'd get a fairly high score on that because these people are at the peak of their career. Normally, the answers I get are, around about a 3 to 4.
No, it should not.
And then I ask them why.
I can see your hand further.
And this is the scary part. Sorry, Rob.
No,
Rohini, I can hear you talking.
Sorry.
So, these folks reckon, on the happiness scale, they're at a 3 or 4. The reason that they're at a 3 or 4 is quite often that they report they are not in the careers that they're passionate about. They're not doing what they love. They made the wrong career decision, at undergrad level, and in many cases at postgrad level. So what also came out of that is, they didn't have the opportunity to really focus on their strengths, things that they were good at, and align their careers with their own interests, their own passions, and focusing on strengths. One of the, and please, I say this with no disrespect at all, what I observe in India very frequently is that we're almost obsessed with focusing on our weaknesses. Tell me how I can fix the weakness, so I can do all right. The research tells us very definitely, if we focus on our strengths, base our careers on our strengths, we get a massive return, on that focusing on strengths investment. Where if we focus on trying to fix our limitations, we get very little return. So please focus on your strengths. The next one what I said there, it's your life, it's your decision. I've worked with so many people that at the stage of making their study decisions, career decisions, they've been extremely heavily influenced, maybe by peer group, by parents, by family members, or whatever. And they've bowed to that pressure, external pressure, and gone into study directions and careers to satisfy other people's objectives. And that is a very, very, very bad strategy. So, please, it's your life. You need to make the decisions that you believe will be best for you and not be overly swayed by external opinion. Finally, at this stage, quite often we don't know what we don't know. For the folks that are going into undergrad and even the folks that are going into postgrad, right now, the jobs that you will probably be employed into in maybe 3, 4, 5 years' time, those jobs don't exist yet. So please accept the ambiguity that we don't know what we don't know at this stage. It's fine if we don't know, but do a lot of research so that you're pretty confident that the area that you're going into does have some reasonable future prospects. Things are going to change as we go along. So if we move on from there, the career planning journey. Firstly, I've indicated there, know yourself, absolutely critical. Next, we're going to have a quick look at careers of the future. I mean, that's an enormously exciting field at the moment. Then we're going to move on to skills of the future. Folks, the people that are equipping themselves for a future career very often focus just on the technical skills. If it's engineering, they focus on the engineering skills, but that won't be nearly enough to be successful in the future. There are a lot of other skills that we need to look at, and I'm going to talk about those. Then how do you find out what your greatest opportunities are? For those folk that are already decided where they want to go, going through this exercise will help you affirm you've made the right decision or get you to maybe reconsider things. I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about brand you. This is an area that is very frequently completely neglected in a career planning phase or process. Decision time, we'll talk about that. And finally, how do we make all of this happen? So I'm going to move through a lot of these very quickly. And my objective is to just bring these concepts to your attention and invite you to go into more depth, to find more information if you believe you need to. So firstly, around knowing yourself. Firstly, what are your interests? This is one of the absolutely most critical things. What are you interested in? Is it in entrepreneurship? Is it in management? Is it in the arts? Is it in technology? And there are so many different areas of interest. So number one is define what your interests are. Number two, again, if you don't match the sort of job that you're looking at, career you're looking at to your personality, we face problems there as well. Are you sort of naturally more introvert, extrovert? Are you adventurous? Are you cautious? And I'll talk more about the personality dimensions as we go through. Then having a look at, what are our skills and abilities? What are the things that we are naturally good at and, that we also enjoy? And again, there are, a massive range of skills. We're talking about, numerical skills, verbal skills, technical skills, and, many other areas that, sorry, just getting my computer sorted, and many other areas that you can look at. And finally, what is your passion and purpose? I'd invite you to think very, very long and hard and carefully about this. My question to you is, what is the why behind the what you do? Because if you have a strong why, it then creates a lot of motivation, enthusiasm, yeah, I guess, and passion. The why behind what I do is my life purpose is helping people be successful. And that has given me massive focus and enjoyment and success throughout my career. So how do we find this out? How the routes to know yourself? Firstly, self-reflection. So what do I mean by self-reflection? It's just taking a little bit of time out to look back at all the experiences you've had in, over your lifetime, especially the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years. What are the things that you really enjoyed, disliked? What have you learned? And a lot of factors like that. So self-reflection is hugely powerful. Asking for feedback. Again, this is a very powerful technique. If you ask people that know you well, and you ask them, how would you describe me? What do you think I'm good at? What do you think my interests are? Again, you'll get very, very valuable feedback from those people. Then, have a look at the choice of the friends around you, your leisure activities, because that again will also tell you, a heck of a lot about yourself. If your groups of friends are, really very serious academically, that's probably how you are as well. Have a look at leisure activities, things like that. And finally, second last, have a look at your life's experiences. What are all the things that you've done? The rich experiences that you've had, I know, with your parents, with friends, with travel, and so on. And finally, leverage psychometric tools. Psychometrics can offer you a heck of a lot of very powerful insights. I'm going to talk about psychometrics just very briefly. I'm going to share with you one of the psychometric tools that we believe at TC Global are very powerful. There are many different psychometric tools that you can use, and I'll share with you just one that we use quite extensively at TC Global. And that is what we refer to as CMAP, Career Motivation Analysis Profile. And what this assessment does, it gives you feedback in 3 areas with the results that you get. Firstly, it helps you identify what your career interest themes are. What I said, the first critical thing is knowing yourself. It's looking at these different career interest themes, and these are based on a lot of research. Your artistic, scientific, logical, managerial, and so on. The results then give you a beautiful graphic sort of presentation of your different interest levels in each of those areas, as you can see in the profile chart. We then move on and we have a look at personality attributes. Things like introversion, extroversion. Are we emotionally changeable, emotionally stable? Are we conventional, open to possibilities? Suspicious or trusting? And we have a number of other ones here. Are we doubting or very optimistic? Are we cautious? Do we prefer excitement? So again, it's critical that you have a very accurate assessment of your personality dimensions and how this will relate to future work that you do. We then have a look at some of the reasoning ability, verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, abstract reasoning, because this will also give you some good indicators of the capabilities that are required in different careers. And it then gives you a pretty useful explanation of what verbal reasoning is, your score, and this will help you then decide on the intellectual capability that we need to approach any specific career and how you stack up on that. The final part is it gives you a great overview of your career interest areas, your 3 top career interest areas. It defines a lot about what that interest area is, how your personality ties into it. As I've said there, it describes your personality and types of careers suited to your highest 3 career interest areas. And then it also gives you a list of careers that match your strongest career interest. So if you still have any doubts or any uncertainty, this is a very powerful way of resolving it. Rohini, could I refer you to the next poll, please?
Sure. So guys, we also want to know from you today, what best describes your current status on career planning? Have you not thought about it? You are clear on what subjects to choose. You've picked subjects, but you need to plan. You are clear on what you want to do next, or are you open to some guidance and some advice from us? So we're just basically, all those answers have come in quite fast, Ron. So basically, a lot of people are open to advice and guidance. Some of them have picked their subjects, but they still need to plan. And some of them are clear on what they want to do. There's not one person in our audience today who's not thought about it. So that's actually really good to hear.
Well, congratulations, folks. That's wonderful. So the folks that are, still considering what they want to do and open to different things, I think you'll find the next section, particularly useful and powerful.
Okay, I'm just going to close the poll, Ron, so I can give you some final figures.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we've got 0% of our audience that have not thought about it. Everybody's thinking about it these days. We have about 7% who say, I'm not clear on what subjects to choose. There are 30% picked my subjects but need to plan. 19% I'm clear on what I want to do. And 44% that are open to guidance and advice. Back to you, Ron.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So folks, let's have a look at some of the careers of the future. We are living in such exciting times. I'm a good few years or decades older, I think, than most of the people in the audience. And I'm very envious of young people today, with the fantastic opportunities that the future offers you. So let's have a look at some of those. What are some of the mega trends? Mega trends are those events, that happen sort of, once in a decade or more, that if we understand them, these are massive trends that are happening. If we understand them, we can really benefit enormously, from exploiting the opportunities they offer. So what are the mega trends? Firstly, connectivity and convergence. What we've seen with COVID-19 is the massive focus on connectivity between people, between countries, all around the world, and a lot of convergence and coming together through that channel. Health and wellness, again, COVID has brought this to the forefront in no uncertain way. But even before COVID came along, massive focus being placed on health and wellness, especially with a lot of baby boomers moving on, and a lot of very, very exciting developments in this field. Sustainability has really become the area of the future as well. And with climate change, environmental protection, all the horror stories we read about plastic in the oceans and the rest of it, make this, again, an absolute mega trend. And probably the biggest and most exciting is artificial intelligence. And I'll go through these in just a little bit more detail. So what do we mean by connectivity and convergence? Firstly, an area that is going to have absolutely massive development in the future is the whole question of cybersecurity. We've already seen this in the last US elections. We've seen hacking. We've seen a lot of intellectual property essentially being infringed all through lack of security on our data, on the way we work through technology. The Internet of Things. What did we do, BG, before Google? Again, an absolute no-brainer, a massive area for the future. Data analytics, we'll come to that again. You can't go wrong in any area of data analytics if it aligns with what your interest, your interests and your personal attributes. And finally, robotics. I have a great interest in manufacturing. And if you have a look at the incredible advances that robotics have made in manufacturing, in our day-to-day lives, in taking over work that was previously done manually, in driverless cars. So again, things are going to happen there in a huge scale. Health and wellness, what are we looking at there? Remote patient monitoring. The days of actually having to go to the doctor to get checkups and the rest of it, that's not going to be the way of the future. Healthcare research and development. I mean, if you look at what's happening around us at the moment with the COVID, literally billions of dollars are being spent on this. The whole process of preventive health, of aging, huge healthcare research and development happening. Clinical decision support systems. Using technology, using artificial intelligence to help us diagnose, clinical conditions. Let's have a look at sustainability. Design thinking. Design thinking is really about looking at the end state that we want to be in, whether it be a product, a service, and working backwards from there to make this the most user-friendly, environmentally friendly process imaginable. Also, in many cases, technology dependent. So design thinking, huge future. Wow, alternative energy. The whole debate on fossil fuel, the demise of fossil fuels, wind power, thermal power. The world is going to need more and more energy. And again, we'll have to find some very creative ways of providing that energy, alternative energy sources, thermal power, etc. Waste management. Again, I guess the world has become sort of a throwaway society, and a massive sort of consumerist society, generating tons or billions of tons of waste that are destroying the environment, and creating havoc in the world. So how do we manage this waste again? Artificial intelligence, the mother of all megatrends. Folks, I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but if you just look at it, it's about deep learning, it's about simulation modeling, machine translation. Having a look at the other side, virtual personal assistants, audio analytics, and so we go on. So you can't go wrong with AI. Another way of looking at this, in the first column, these are the careers that will stay relevant and what are the new trends. If we're looking at the whole hospitality industry, previously it was about lodging, recreation, etc. It's now going to be about how can we deliver the hospitality experience? How are we going to keep people safe in doing it? Non-contact service. So massive change happening in the hospitality industry, and the world is going to go back to hospitality, to travel, and so on. The tech side, it was about artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and the new trends really making the world tech ready, making people tech ready that they can deal with all this amazing development, and also the critical importance of ongoing innovation in this space. Education. I think this is a subject near and dear to all our hearts. It's currently around online learning service providers. A lot of universities are going online. But this is going to change dramatically and fundamentally, that we're going to have to find new ways of remotely engaging learners. The days of everyone coming together in the university classroom, etc., those days are fading fast. And what are some of the new ways that we can use technology to give students the same opportunity to engage with each other, to engage with learning? Logistics and retail, online stores, supply chain, and now the new trend is hyperlocal. Hyperlocal, essentially, we're looking globally at where things come from, how we're going to manage them, and how that integrates locally. Life sciences, pharmaceuticals, medical service and equipment, biosciences. So where are we going with life sciences and healthcare? Largely towards in-home healthcare and digital healthcare. I think the days of having to go to a doctor to get a diagnosis when you are feeling lousy, I think those days are very numbered. You'll have your watch on your wrist or a little implant, and that's going to provide diagnostics that are way more effective than conventional treatment. Finally, in the financial sector, life insurance, health insurance, etc., and moving because of, I think, a lot of the natural disasters we've had, people being more conscious about natural calamities, epidemics, and a lot more focus being placed on that. So that gives you a bit of a snapshot of where the future is going career-wise. What I'd like to move on to now is to briefly have a look at the skills of the future. Remember what I said, it's fine to have the technical skills, to be an engineer or to be a doctor or whatever, but we require a lot more skills now for the future. Those will no longer be adequate in our rapidly changing technological world. And just to set the scene for that, we're looking at new ways of working. We've already seen in COVID-19 moving away from office working to virtual and remote working. From restricted working in one country, in one place, to working globally, completely borderless. Having specialized skills in one niche area, to needing to have more diversified skills to really add value to our employers, to the clients that we serve. Moving from being an employee, we do what we're told to do, towards being a true business partner, where we can, on an ongoing basis, analyze what's happening in the business and what we can do to make that business more successful. Again, requires a lot of different skills. Moving away from being directed and managed towards self-leadership in a work situation. So let's have a look at those skills. This is an obvious one. We've absolutely got to embrace change, like we've just never seen change before. Creative thinking. Without creative thinking, nothing's going to change the way it has to, and if we can't keep up with it, we're dead. Emotional intelligence, understanding our own emotions, how they affect us, understanding the emotional states, the interactions of other people. Again, a critical skill for the future. Tech savviness goes without saying. Again, communication and both interpersonally and also with massive focus now on how do we communicate technologically. A growth mindset. What we mean by a growth mindset, that we are continuously looking to become the best version ourselves, continuously learning, growing, adapting, working to higher standards. If we don't have this, we're not going to survive. Active learning. Folks, if we are not learning faster than change is happening, we are going backwards. And we all know how fast that's happening. Cultural intelligence. The world has become, to use a cliche, a global village. That we will increasingly be interacting with different cultures from across the world. And the need to understand the nuances, the norms, the values of different cultures. And finally, leadership, being able to influence other people, inspire other people, but not just other people, also ourselves. So yeah, that's looking at the some of the skills that will be critical. So let's have a look at what would be your greatest career opportunity. So firstly, if you know yourself, if we look at the personal attributes, what are your career interests? What are you passionate about? Yeah, what's your personality profile? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? Yeah, what real talents do you have? What are your values? And really enormously importantly, what are your lifestyle choices? How do you want to live in the future? So if you can get that together, and that's that knowing yourself. If you haven't got this well sussed out, I would invite you to think about it. Then aligning those personal attributes with the future opportunities that fully align with these attributes. Yeah, if you can match those two, you will find your greatest and your best career opportunities. So it's all about alignment. I'm just watching the time. I'd invite you to think very carefully about personal branding. This is an area that's getting massive focus and attention across the world right now. We all have a personal brand. If we think about Greta Thunberg, if we think about her personal brand, you think about her, what comes to mind? A passionate advocate to fight climate change, a passionate environmentalist. If you look at somebody like Amitabh Bachchan, what sort of personal brand would he have? A great actor, great entertainer. And so everyone has a personal brand, whether you like it or not. So the question I'd like to put to you is, what is your current brand? If I had to ask somebody, when you look at me, Ron McLuckie, what do you associate me with? What comes to mind? So you need to ask yourself that question of what other people would see you as. Then, for the career that you're looking at, what would be your ideal personal brand? If somebody is passionate about the environment, they would obviously need to have a personal brand around conservation, around saving our natural resources and so on. So how do you create it? That's the biggie. And the critical part of your personal branding is that you need to start very, very early. And what you'll find for the people that have already done their university applications, in your statement of purpose and so on, organizations are looking at your personal brand. I'll go into that in more detail here. How to create a personal brand? I'm speaking to Gen Z, and online presence is critical. According to Forbes, 92% of companies consider candidates' social media profiles while hiring. Some of the things you need to do: curate and share your story, clean up all unwanted information which gives a wrong impression, share information which highlights your strengths and showcases your talents. Keep your personal information stuff private. So what do you need to be very careful not to do? And so many people have been caught out on this. Make inappropriate comments on anything. Never post inappropriate context around drug usage, alcohol, etc. And one of the big things that you cannot afford is to have no social media presence. So again, you need to look at this very carefully. As you go on into your career, a LinkedIn profile is vital, what's in it, and so on. So let's just have a look a little bit more about this personal branding. What I've said, this is the real authentic stuff. give back to society. What organizations are looking for, what employers are looking for, is people who are motivated to give back, to make the world a better place. So get involved in social work. Just do something, whatever it is, to demonstrate your brand, your character in giving back. Upskill yourself. If you're looking at going into the high-tech world, the Googles, the Microsofts, and the rest of it, you're going to need, for example, coding skills and things like that, fairly early on. So start doing that immediately. Upskill yourself. Upgrade for online courses. I mean, there's such fantastic programs available. Work your passion. If you say you're passionate about something, it needs to be demonstrated. Build evidence for your profile. If you're at school, get involved in extracurricular activities. If you're at university, again, get involved in all those extracurricular activities. Start a book club, run a marathon, whatever it is, but demonstrate that you're doing something passionate about, you're doing something constructive about your passion. So it's on the personal branding side. So decision time, putting it all together. So you've done all your homework, you know yourself well, you've looked at all the opportunities, now it's decision time. And please remember, it's absolutely your decision on what you do. You need to have some clarity on your career plans. Look, it's absolutely fine if you're not 100% certain. Because what you will find as you go through the last year or two at school, especially undergrad, at the moment you don't know what you don't know. And your experience will give you a lot more clarity as you go through things. So if you haven't decided exactly what it is, that's fine. You do, however, need some sort of clarity on ultimately where you're going. So what are we talking about here? It's your career direction, the study domain, the specific programs, universities, countries, etc. And again, there is so much information out there, and we'd encourage you to research this. At TC Global, our relationship managers, our new platform that's coming up, can help you enormously in this. Research, research, research. I think I've covered that. It can be tricky and complex, but if you do your research well, if you get some help, it's really an enormously exciting and wonderful process. As I've said, get professional help. Finally, making it happen. So you've decided what it is. So this is the critical stage. Remember, the job's not complete until the paperwork's done. The whole idea of university applicants, which universities are you going to apply to? You'll have decided that, but how do you do the applications? What are all the financial arrangements that you need to have in place? The visa applications, the correct documentation. I think people that have not walked this process before just don't understand the critical importance of very robust planning and execution at this stage, to finally make things happen. And please remember, TC Global will help you if you need help through this. This is what the organization does as well. Rohini, the last poll.
Sure, Ron. So guys, thank you for all your questions. I hope you're happy with the answers our panelists are giving you. So the last poll for this evening: what, according to you, is the most important factor for making your career decision? 1, knowing yourself. 2, seeking expert advice. 3, discussing with parents, friends, and teachers. 4, job market research, or all of the above. So if you can just quickly send in your answers. That's an interesting set of answers that we're getting, Ron. I'm just going to give it a couple of more seconds. Yeah, it's you've got 20% at the moment saying that's about knowing yourself, and about 69% of them saying all of the above. So I'm just waiting, giving it about another 10-15 seconds before I can close the poll.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you for your answers. I'm closing the poll now. So, Ron, our last poll has been very insightful. It's basically said 21% think that an important factor is knowing yourself, 4% seeking expert advice, 0% discussing it with parents, friends, and teachers, 6% want to do job market research, but 69% want to consider all of the above before making a decision. Back to you.
Okay, really, thank you so much for that. Yeah, that was a trick question. Obviously, the correct answer to that is all of the above. And if you certainly, if you engage in all the options that are mentioned there, you will undoubtedly come to a great decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've come to the end of my presentation, and what I'd invite you to do is just consider everything that we've discussed, apply the concepts, and I'm pretty sure that will help you make a great career decision that will be fulfilling, help you be successful in the future, and really have a fantastic career and life ahead. So thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. And right now, I'd like to hand over to Rohini for questions and answers. Rohini, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you so much, audience, for listening. Our panel is now ready to answer some of these important questions that you have raised today. Our main panelists, if you can just put yourself so we can see you on the screen so I can ask you these questions. We have a range of questions that are some of them are about careers and about working, and some of them are still about their global education. So I'm just going to start with the careers one. Bindu ma'am, Kalpana ma'am, I think the first set of questions I'm gonna ask you guys. One of the big questions that have come, and it's been repeated across all our audience members today, is how does online learning affect our stay back options, working options in the current situation? I can see both of you are smiling. It's wonderful. Kalpana, if we can start with you.
Okay, guys, online learning is going to be part of our lives for the rest of the years that we are going to study. So it is a good way, and it will not affect your post-study work visas in any ways. All countries are coming up with rules, regulations, policy changes, and you will get all the rights once you arrive on shore after you have started online. So I would very, very highly recommend that you start your online courses. Bindu ma'am, for your inputs.
Bindu ma'am, you're on mute.
It's the stay back options that are, the ones that are really, really worrying. What the governments are doing is they're coming out slowly. Okay, the guidelines are coming out slowly. But what we've got today, as of 22nd of May, is that the PSW is not affected, but there are certain parameters in which they have to fit. Example, Canada says that you have to do at least 50% of your course onshore. As I said, these guidelines are coming out in dribs and drabs because they also are unsure as to when. We've had a lot of questions, I know all of us as panelists, that should we do the online? I think you not only should, you will not lose the year. Online is something you will do even when you reach the other, when you reach your destination. There may be parts of your course that are online. And if you want to know what these are like, a lot of universities and a lot of our partners are doing master classes to show you what this online will look like. So my suggestion is just stay connected with us, look at our website where these are listed, and attend a masterclass of a university, whichever one you want. And we're doing it across the board. Right now, it's Australia that is, in the forefront of these. University of Sydney, for example, had a wonderful one. I think RMIT, Kalpana, had a
Yes,
great one. There are many that are coming up with these master classes. We have a series of them coming up, and I would suggest attend one. It will give you an idea of not to be scared of going online. But if it's PSW at the moment, no problem.
Thank you, Kalpana. Thank you, Bindu. Okay, Prasad, Shweta, this next set is for you. Given that we've talked about technology and the sciences, can you please shed some light on how the management and the arts careers are going to be affected, and what your view is that you're telling students as well?
Shweta, would you
Prasad,
like to
shall
go
we
first?
start with you?
Yeah. Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Prasad. I'm attached to Pune branch and a part of relationship management team. So good to see you, everybody. Thank you. Right. So that's a very good question because everybody seems to be thinking that the jobs are available only in certain sectors. But guys, do not forget, any country you come to, I'm myself a management graduate. I've studied in the UK. Any sector you apply for a job, the some rule is you have to have good skills, you have to have smart confidence, smartness, planned approach, good networking skills, and that should not stop you from applying for a job because that's exactly what employers are looking for. Apart from the cliched good marks on your mark sheets and transcripts and the fancy name against your profile, that is still going to help you, but you need to have a very good approach. You need to know a lot of people, whichever country you study in. So the networking has to start from the day one. And apart from studying, just enjoy, just send out your CVs, understand how the CV writing works, use all the facilities, and at the end of the day, you should not struggle to get a job, particularly in a country like UK where post Brexit there will be a lot of opportunities because they're not going to look at employing a lot of workforce from the European Union. That's where students from India they command. So do not worry, guys. It's a long journey, and I'm sure you will be able to find something really good for you.
Sure.
Thank you, Prasad.
Thank you.
Shweta, would you like to add
Yeah.
to that?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Shweta. I'm from the New Delhi branch. So I fully agree to what Prasad said. And when we talk about the other set of courses like management, philosophy, IR, these set of areas anyway have their own set of markets, So with COVID-19 or any such thing coming up will not have definitely a long-term impact on the opportunities such courses offer. So as very rightly said that, if you look at UK is coming up, they're recovering very well from the COVID-19. Similarly, the news from Australia and New Zealand is very, very positive. So let's choose this destination very carefully. And also I think that as Prasad also mentioned, it's very important to, work on the networking side of our, areas. So if we network well, if you're, if you're working hard throughout the program, I'm sure we will not face such challenge.
Thank you, Shweta. The next question that I'm going to ask our panelists is regarding how do you think I should move forward with my career planning? So, I mean, if I'm currently studying, because we've got a couple of international students that are with us today as well, they want to know how should they start their process now while they're doing their online classes. Prasad, would you like to take this?
Yes. May I know which country these international students are currently studying at the moment?
They're a mixed bag, Prasad. Some Australia and some UK.
Okay. So the bottom line is, first and foremost, please approach the Career Development Center because every university must have this particular facility available, without which the education abroad doesn't have much of silver lining. Approach them. Guys, this is not that you approach them today, tomorrow you get a call, day after tomorrow you send an email and hey, everybody's happy because everyone has a job. It doesn't work that way, okay? So it's a very structured process. Try and understand every country has a different requirement when it comes to writing a very professional CV. It should not be about how many pages your CV run into. It's about how well and how nicely and crisply it's structured. So approach them. They will assign you with a particular consultant who will be able to guide you through the entire process of writing CVs, undergoing mock interviews, understanding your skills, writing covering letters, and then that's how you should be able to apply for jobs. Alternatively, please get in touch with your faculty members because these guys are some of the industry experts. Can be a full-time employee with the university, can be a visiting faculty. get in touch with them, because they are the ones who will be able to tell you the current trends in that particular country, in that particular field that you're looking for a job. As I mentioned during my previous answer, networking. So get in touch with alumni, see how what sort of uh, options they used, which were available at their disposal for the jobs. And I think it should not be as difficult as people think. It's just that we are scared to start somewhere, and everybody needs a bit of push. And with that push, I'm sure you'll be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, Prasad. Would anyone else like to add to that?
Well, you can. Also, when you're looking at your courses that you want to do, today there were a number of questions on saying now there are going to be, how will I get a job in the current situation? Instead of looking at it pessimistically, I would look at it very optimistically and say the world has opened up opportunities which are limitless. The old days of not technology alone, but technology in a particular area becoming more niche and adding to your skill set, as Ron mentioned, is what is the way forward. So if you are a really, really good technical guy, pick up a course which will develop another skill for you. There are subjects which nobody used to touch. Disaster management. Not too many universities have it. But look at the mess that we are in today. It is, disaster management is soon going to become a niche area, which is going to be something that people will look forward to, employing somebody with that. So do come and connect with us. As I keep saying, connect with us and let's see what are the other offers. Universities are also keeping up with these trends. Remember that. Don't look at just what is on the website. Talk to us. Talk to your RMs, and we will talk to universities. The universities are updating us with new courses. We are also in a great learning mode, and we are finding it very, very exciting talking to all of you. So I don't see any need to be pessimistic. Some of the questions sounded so sad. We just want to say, don't be sad. There's lots more out there.
And don't worry, guys, we're all in this together. Thank you, Vinay. My second last question. Yeah, sorry, Kalpana, please go.
Sorry, I just wanted to add a few more points to this. For example, University of Sydney, RMIT, they have come up with these innovative internships where students are studying in Australia, but they can intern anywhere in the world. So all these students who are currently doing their online courses, don't forget to get in touch with your departments, because they will guide you for these internships as well. Also, the other thing is, if you are planning to go to another country, whatever you have studied online will get you credits. So don't worry. If you're studying online, be sure that it is a proper study and the whole world is recognizing that study. So guys, as Vinamam said, there is a whole world there. Thanks.
Thank you, Kalpana. Like I said, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but the second last question, because I know we're tight on time, is are there any trusted platforms where we can upgrade our skills, or is there any suggestion as to how we should actually go about this upgrading of skills that Ron talked about? Vinam, would you like to take this?
No, I would say let's ask the youngsters. They are far more tech savvy on this. But yes, courses even online, in the good old sense of the word. There's no such thing as if I don't get credits, I shouldn't do it. To upskill yourself with other skills, I'm sorry, but I can't give you websites. But maybe whoever's asked that question, give us 24 hours. We'll get back to you, maybe with a list of websites which we think you can look at.
Sure.
So
we can do that.
Offhand, for example, Coursera. They can go on to Coursera. They can do Udemy. They can do FutureLearn. These are some of the sites where you normally go and study. But universities also are offering 1 or 2 modules these days. So if you go to big names like Harvard or Oxford or Sydney, RMIT, things like that, you can pick up one course modules as well of your interest. So I think that would also help you upskill yourselves. Yeah,
Thank you,
Prasad.
Prasad. Yeah, please.
I see. Apart from upgrading your skills, it's very important from my personal experience is to know at least one extra language than your mother tongue and the globally recognized English. The name which I'm gonna give you all right now, Duolingo. Trust me, up until 2 weeks ago, people had no idea how Duolingo is even spelled. Now it's become a household name thanks to many universities accepting the English test. Guys, it's a
True.
good platform. Every one of us have fancy mobile phones, good internet connections. Spend 15-20 minutes. They give you various stages for you to understand any particular language, like a German or a Spanish, from the as basic level as a beginner's level to as advanced level. At the end of the day, all you have to do is just spend half an hour on your mobile phone, learn, see the impact. Probably 6 months down the line, you will not even have to step into a study center. You have your skills ready. It will not stop you from applying for a bilingual jobs. So concentrate on learning a good European language as well. It's definitely going to be of great help.
Well said,
That's some great
Prasad.
advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shweta, you wanted to add as well?
Yeah. So just on that note, as Kalpana ma'am said, there are a couple of courses run by University of Toronto. These are free online courses that the students can enroll for. So as ma'am said, I think all the top ranked universities are kind of, running such programs. So we'll have to do a little bit of search and we can just find it out. Thank you, Prasad. I'm going to try that.
No problem. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. That's the end of our question and answer session. My last question is for each of you individually: is what advice or what would you like to say to our audience who's been with us today? Any insights above and beyond what Ron shared with them? Shweta, shall we start with you?
Sure. I would suggest that, guys, let's keep ourselves updated. Let's embrace the new change that we're all seeing. And again, as Bindu ma'am said, let's not be pessimistic in our approach. Let's be very, very optimistic. Let's see opportunities which are coming to us right when we are sitting at our homes. And let's be positive towards it. Yeah.
Thanks, Shweta. Prasad, shall we do you next?
Yes, COVID-19, of course, it has its worst impact, but it has also made us realize that the technology can be used in the bestest possible way. So Bindu ma'am is sitting in one corner of the country, Shweta is one place, Kalpana is one place, I'm in the west of the country. And look at us, we just feel so close to each other. Guys, make use of this. This is going to be a part of our lives from now on. 15 years down the line, we'll all probably be talking using the most advanced technology as if we are standing next to each other. Use it, study, connect with each other, just enjoy. This is going to be a fantastic journey. And whatever you do not back out from your current plans because this is going to lead to something fantastic in the future. Guys, trust us on that. We are seeing good numbers as well, but don't back out because 1 year down the line, you will then sit down and probably ask yourself a question: why did I not go ahead with my earlier planned decision? This is a fantastic decision. Go ahead. We will help you. We are going to be with you every step of the way. And let's make this a fantastic journey for you.
Thank you, Prasad. Kalpana?
So I would also say the same. There is always opportunity in every adversity. Let's look at this as an opportunity. Upskill yourselves. Look at opportunities. Keep your eyes open. Look at stuff that is happening. There was a question, should I study now for a fashion course? I think this is the most appropriate time to go out and study fashion. Reason being, we need all these masks. And I was thinking the other day, when we go back to office, we will have to pair it, right? We need the best masks. So go out there and look at an opportunity and get things going, guys. And we are there. We will always support you. Online is something you should think about. It should not happen after 1 year that we would go back and think, oh, online I had to do even when I came for a face-to-face class, because the whole world will change onto an online study mode now. Okay, so I think embrace the change and all the best.
Thank you, Kalpana. Bindu ma'am, final words?
Yeah, I mean, the questions today, as I said, sounded a bit sad. Someone said, I've lost the motivation. Uh, don't. There is as I keep saying, there's a whole world out there. Prasad's just given you another side of this picture, and he's a young guy. Uh, all I can say to you is change is inevitable. Okay, that's the backdrop to our lives. And if we look at it as opportunities, which we really should, the big question right now, a lot of questions on stay back options, but stay back is not the only thing there is. If you start right now, you will find that it's an opportunity that you shouldn't have given up so easily on. So take our advice, because we are the experts on the ground. We are talking to partners. The world is going to open up. Today you read that that India is going to go to South Africa to play cricket. So that gives us hope that the aircrafts have to fly, borders have to open, otherwise there will be no cricket match. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And we at TC Global, just connect with us on our website. We're all over the country. As Prasad has so eloquently put it, we're in all parts of the country and we're talking to you. So make the most of it. You can come and see us. That costs you nothing to connect with us. And let's see if we can help you. Some of you have asked very general questions. Give us the opportunity of talking to you one-on-one. And because each case is different and your reasons for going are different. So yes, all we can say is all the very, very best from all of us here. And hope to see you soon, talk to you soon. Just keep safe, for God's sake. COVID is not going away.
Thank you, Bindu ma'am. There are some other panelists. Unfortunately, you can't see them today. Tanya, Monica, Urvashi, Ratika, thank you so much for helping our audience answer their questions. Back to you, Ron.
Thank you very much. So folks, just in summary, I'd like to reflect briefly on what our panelists have said, and just indicate so strongly that the future is going to be a wonderful place to be. There's fantastic opportunities out there. If we carpe diem, as they say, seize the day. So in conclusion, just trying to get the last little slide up. Whoops. Yep, so good luck, God bless. We wish you well. Stay connected. As part of the, I guess, the TC Global community, we've got our Twitter communications there, our Facebook and LinkedIn. So good luck, God bless, and let's see you soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, panelists. Audience, for those of you that are still here, if you have further questions, please write to us at webinar@tcglobal.com. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Tomorrow or day after, you'll be receiving an email from us as well, covering the stuff that Ron has covered in his presentation today. And as we say at TC Global, stay safe and speak soon. Good evening, you guys.